Okay, so we're about to dive into this really powerful story about a man who's facing a choice between a ton of money and his own personal principles. It's all about a secret he kept for a decade and what it actually means to be successful.
But before we get into all that, let me start by asking you something. Imagine your boss comes to you and offers you a promotion that doubles, literally doubles your salary, a 100% raise. What would it take for you to say, nah, I'm good? Just keep that in the back of your mind as we get into this.
All right, let's meet Robert. He's a lumberjack, and a really good one. Super competent, very safety conscious. And for the last 10 years, he's been making this one decision that his boss just cannot wrap his head around.
Can you just picture that conversation? For a full decade, Robert has been offered this huge step up, and every single time, he's politely turned it down. You can imagine his supervisor is just completely baffled by this.
And let's be clear about what he's rejecting. This isn't just some small annual raise. The promotion to supervisor would literally double his pay. That is a life-changing amount of money for just about anyone.
So on the surface, Robert's excuse seems pretty simple. He tells his boss he cares more about his personal time than the extra cash. He wants to avoid all the stress and the long hours that come with being the boss so he can exercise, read, cook. It sounds like a classic argument for work-life balance, right? Well, it's a lot more complicated than that. See, his decision isn't being made in a vacuum. It comes with a really significant personal cost, and it's something his boss is very, very aware of. This is the kicker. This isn't just about him saying no to a fancier car or a bigger house. His refusal is directly affecting his family's future, specifically his daughter's chance to go to college. The stakes here are incredibly high. And there's more. It's not just the promotion. Robert consistently and on purpose cuts just a few trees less than his target. And by doing that, he gives up his bonus every single time. He is actively, deliberately choosing to make less money.
So why on earth would anybody do this? Turn down double pay, give up your bonuses, especially when your family really needs the money? Well, to figure that out, we have to uncover a secret that only his family knows.
And here it is. This is the real conflict. There's this massive gap between the practical reasons he's giving his boss and what's actually going on inside his head. He's not just trying to avoid stress, he's trying to avoid a complete crisis of conscience.
So here's the truth. Robert has this deep, lifelong connection to the very forest that he's being paid to cut down. He literally grew up playing among these exact same trees. Every single tree he cuts causes him pain. He secretly hates his job and even prays for forgiveness for the work he has to do.
Okay, now that we know his secret, let's go back to the consequences. Let's go back to that difficult phone call he has to make to his daughter. A call that it reveals everything about what his family truly values. So, with the weight of turning down that promotion for the 10th time on his shoulders, Robert makes the call. He has to tell his daughter, Donna, about the financial reality of the choice he just made. He just lays it all out there. He tells her that because of the principles he lives by, he can't pay for her education, and he asks her to forgive him. Can you just imagine the fear and the guilt he must have felt in that moment? But her response? Wow. Instead of the disappointment or the anger that he was probably expecting, he gets the one thing he needed most: total, complete understanding and validation. See, his daughter already knew his secret, and she tells him she's proud of him for sticking to his beliefs. This story, it really forces you to take a step back and think about how we define success and wealth. It makes you ask yourself, what does it really mean to be rich? Robert lives by this simple, personal promise he made to himself. He will earn enough to provide for his family, but he will not earn one single dollar more than that if it means selling a piece of his soul. It's about having enough, not having everything. It's integrity over income. And it's through his daughter's pride that this whole thing gets reframed. What looks like a massive financial failure to his boss is actually, in the eyes of his family, a powerful and inspiring win for his principles. He chose his conscience over his wallet. Simple as that. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. In a world that so often measures our worth by the size of our paycheck or our job title, how do you even begin to calculate the value of being true to yourself? What is a clear conscience really worth?